All right, so Klay Thompson's heading over to Dallas to play with your large Slovenian son. The Warriors, so Klay Thompson even got a deal from the Lakers that he turned down, which is pretty surprising. What does that say the most about the Mavericks, the Warriors, or the Lakers?
All right, so we'll talk more about the Lakers in a moment. It is being reported the Lakers offered Klay 4 for 80. That's impossible. They literally did not have the capability to offer him that. Now, maybe they were like, oh, we'll be able to make these moves, we'll do these things, but they were not in a position where they were able to slide across a contract to Klay Thompson saying, sign, and it's ready for it, even though LeBron was willing to take a pay cut. The Lakers' total inability to land their guy, it's historic. And all of us, and folks are like, oh, the state taxes. All right, a couple things. First of all, NBA players pay tax per game. So this idea of, oh, these Texas teams have such a massive edge. Well, for half of their games, yeah, which is a real amount of money, I understand. But when you play a game in California, you're paying taxes, California taxes. When you play a game in Dallas, you're paying Texas taxes. I get that part of it. But the other part of that media narrative that's so maddening is Texas didn't just change their state tax law. It's been like that. And the Mavericks have been striking out on free agents for a decade. The Lakers front office targeted Danny Hurley, couldn't get the job done. The Lakers front office, targeted Klay Thompson, whose dad is a franchise legend and works for the team, and he loves being on the water, and he's from Southern California, and LeBron recruited him, and they couldn't get it done. It's almost like the Lakers front office doesn't have a godforsaken clue what they're doing. Now, for the Mavs side of it, I like this a lot. Listen, you're going to take a slight step back defensively. What, DeMonte? Go.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you hit it on the nose. It's a slight step back defensively. Definitely isn't going to help with the perimeter defense, but they could have used a shooter in that series for sure.
Right, 100%. And they have now added Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes. You saw that? They got your old teammate Quentin Grimes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another nice
awesome
pickup for them. Yeah.
And Klay. So Quentin will defend. Quentin will defend and hit threes. Klay is just going to hit spot up threes all day. And Luka is going to spoon feed him those spot up threes. So I do think they take a slight step back defensively, no doubt about it. But to lose Derrick Jones Jr. and Tim Hardaway, and to add Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes, who, again, I'm partial to because he and DeMonte were teammates for Basketball University in Houston. And that team DeMonte was on in Houston had 8 guys go D1. Quentin was the youngest by 2 years. And do you think it was fair to say he was the best then?
He's the best
when he was 15 and the rest of you guys were 17? He was the best.
Yeah.
And so again, I'm partial to it because I've watched him since he was a kid, watched him play with DeMonte, and he's such a nice kid. So I'm really like he's in a good basketball spot for him. And so I like this for Klay a lot. I also find, and now we'll get to the Warriors piece of it, DeMonte, 3 for 50 is not a lot. It's not. And, I mean, Malik Monk just got 4 for 78 from the Kings. So this tells, the fact that the Warriors and Klay, it'd be one thing if a team gave him, 4 for 120. Then it's like, all right, this doesn't make sense for us. Right. But the fact that the Warriors couldn't find a way to bridge the gap tells me they were ready to move on, and maybe Klay was ready to move on in this regard. Tell me if you buy this. I think that for Klay to fully accept he's in a different place in his career, he might literally need to be in a different place in his career. Does that make sense? Like that, as long as he's with Steph and Dre and wearing that uniform, it's going to be more painful for him that he's not what he once was.
I guarantee if he's on a different team, he's probably not throwing up the fours on the sideline.
No,
I think that
not,
was like a weird psychological thing with him.
I think you're exactly right. I think that is exactly right. So I'm happy for Klay. Now, what does this mean for the Warriors? I am going to keep... So what it means for them this year in the short term, with or without Klay, they're not contenders. They will be lucky to make the playoffs. Okay? That's just where they're at. What does it mean for Steph? And what does it mean for Steph's ability to contend with what's left of the end of his prime and be a lifelong Warrior? Because I think those two things are now contradictory. And I think that it had the Warriors a year ago when they re-signed Draymond, also re-signed Klay, that to me would have guaranteed that Steph chose loyalty over contention. Because it's like, all right, we came in together, we're all going to retire together. But the Warriors organization broke the band up. So don't then be upset if the lead singer says, I want to go elsewhere. The label broke up the band. You can't then ask the front man to stay loyal to the label. Well, what about my partner? Well, what about my Splash Brother? So it's not a story right now, but a bubbling NBA story, in my opinion, is when the Warriors this year missed the play-in entirely and Steph has another very good year. This offseason, does Steph say, do I want to spend the end of my career playing basketball with a part-time player, full-time podcaster, a bunch of kids, and not playing in games that matter? I don't know. I think that is a real question and something to monitor. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.